Alright, let's continue. Tadi cikgu tunjuk yang ni kan gelang ini. So you still remember what is this ring? This is actually the cambium ring. Okay, sekarang ni kita mau bincang pasal cork cambium pula. So this is cork cambium. So kalau ke dalam, so cork cambium actively divides also. Dia akan form kalau ke dalam, that is called the cortex. Yang di luar ini, those are the cork cells. Cork cells. Jadi cork layer, the function is to protect the stem from insect and also pathogen attack. Okay, when the epidermis is cracked. So when the secondary xylem layer is compressed, just now I mentioned about this, there is no addition to the circumference of the stem. So what will happen is that the epidermis of the stem will stretch and crack. So dia sudah sangat padat kan, jadi dia sudah dikompres secondary xylem itu. Compress sudah sangat padat, tidak ada pertambahan to the circumference. Dari segi dia punya perimeter, jadi apa yang berlaku akan berlaku cracking ini to the epidermis. Okay. Jadi when undergoing secondary growth, primary xylem is pushed towards the pith. Jadi kamu identify, usually they will ask you to identify the location of secondary phloem, mana satu secondary xylem, primary xylem and secondary xylem. Okay, so cambium ring, kita kenal pasti ring ini dulu. So first step kenal pasti this ring. Okay, kalau di sebelah menyebelah ring itu mesti sesuatu yang baru sebab berpunca daripadanya mitosis happens, right? So yang ini mesti adalah what do you call that? The secondary punya benda ni. Like for example, secondary xylem. Kalau ini secondary phloem lah. Betul tak? Something new from it. So senang ingat. Yang primary tu sudah mana? Dia sudah menjauhi sudah. This is primary xylem and this is primary phloem. Okay. Primary xylem is pushed towards the pith. Ini pith. Dia makin menjauhi gelang cambium ini. Okay, whereas primary phloem is pushed towards the epidermis. Dia akan pergi ke dekat-dekat epidermis bahagian luar. This one. The primary. Okay, ingat saja secondary tu mesti dekat-dekat dengan cambium ring. Okay, so as a result, the primary xylem tissues are compressed. Ni makin ditekan ini. So what will happen is it becomes stronger wood layer because the walls of the xylem are thickened with lignin. Remember I've mentioned the terms just now, lignin. Kalau dia thicken with lignin, now it is a very strong layer. So the thickening of the lignin provides mechanical support. Jadi beginilah harus kamu tuliskan point one by one like this accordingly. Okay, the terms that I've highlighted with red, those are the points. Okay, now let's move on to look at the secondary growth at the root. Tapi sebenarnya lebih kurang sama sahaja dengan apa yang berlaku pada stem tadi. Just that you notice now that dia punya bentuk xylem dengan phloem tu sudah berbeza. Okay, I've taught you these tips. Kalau kamu nampak benda X, that is what? That is xylem. Dan tepi-tepi, the circular ones, that is phloem. Okay, sekarang ni kita bermula dengan primary sahaja. So let's identify where is the location of vascular cambium. Vascular cambium, dekat sini. Yang biru muda ini. So what can you see is that this is vascular cambium. You have primary xylem, primary phloem. Kemudian what happened? Now ada secondary sudah muncul. So this yang biru muda ini, this is the vascular cambium, right? So sebelah dia, sebelah menyebelah. So sebelah di sini yang luar, bahagian luar, that will be the secondary phloem. Sebelah yang dekat-dekat dia, bahagian dalam, that will be the secondary xylem. So as the time goes by, so this is what you can see lah, the results. Masih lagi warna yang sama, vascular cambium. Yang ini sudah jadi secondary phloem begini punya rupa. And then secondary xylem di sini. And sudah ditolak ke dalam-dalam, that is primary. Sudah ditolak ke luar-luar, that is primary. What do you call that? Primary phloem. Primary phloem. Tidak dilabelkan di sini. Okay? Boleh? Okay, secondary growth at the root. The root of the plants also undergoes secondary growth sebab dia mau kasih increased circumference, keliling, lilitan keliling bagi root itu. Jadi gemukkan dia punya root itu. So its process is the same as the one in the EUDICOTS stem. So bila huraian itu kamu tulis sama juga. So you say vascular cambium. Masih lagi terms yang sama. Vascular cambium cells are the ones that are dividing actively through mitosis. Okay, sehinggalah dia buat satu ring yang complete. Okay, so divide inwards. Sebelah dalam punya, that is secondary xylem. And then divide outwards, that is secondary phloem. Okay, due to the vascular and cambium activity, jadi the root will become thicker lah. You don't say, dalam kata lain, dia makin gemuk, but you don't use the word. Just for your understanding, you use thicker or increase in the circumference. So the cork cambium pula, yang ini underneath the epidermis. You still remember that? So again, same ya, it will form cork cells. Cork cells. Cork cells too for protection to the root tissues. Okay, so this one is on bioexploration. Okay, jadi penghasilan xylem sekunder pada musim bunga spring and also summer. So you see the different colors, very nice, the texture. So these rings actually tells us how old are the plants. Okay, as you chop them down, you see how many rings are being formed. Wow, and that is how old they are. Sudah makin tua. Okay, so why is it that in spring that the color appears to be bright, but in summer it appears to be dark? Why? It's because of the, maybe you can read that on. Now, let's look at the secondary growth of monocots. Okay, secondary growth of monocots. Okay, actually, monocots ya, kebanyakannya tidak mengalami secondary growth. Because they are small, they don't need much of the mechanical support. Macam tumbuhan ini, memang nampak pokok-pokok berkayu ini sudah banyak tahun kan mereka hidup. So they are very tall, they are very, the stem are very thick. So kita boleh faham kenapa tumbuhan begini memerlukan secondary growth. It's for mechanical support. So for monocots, rasanya macam tidak significant, but there are some exceptions. For example, Dracaena species, aloe species, agave species. This is actually the one that makes up your front page, okay, of your textbook. So these are the exceptions that you need to remember. Mereka ini mengalami pertumbuhan sekunder walaupun tumbuhan-tumbuhan ini adalah tumbuhan monocot. Okay, now the necessity. Kenapa perlu? Okay, very simple sejak kamu ingat lah kalau primary growth itu maximum elongation of plants. Kenapa mau jadi lebih tinggi atau panjang? It's for sunlight absorption to maximize it because we know that they have to undergo photosynthesis. So primary phloem can transport products of photosynthesis. Okay, you know that they are meant for transportation. Kalau xylem pun transport juga, tapi transport water and mineral salts. Okay, and then primary xylem provides supports also for herbaceous or young plants. Okay, for secondary growth, mainly it's for support, like I said just now, stability. Sebab dia punya diameter tu makin meningkat. The diameter, ya betul, diameter tu lebih besar lah kan. The batang itu lebih besar. So it is important so that the plants are stable because tumbuhan macam ni memang tumbuhan yang sangat tinggi. Okay, mechanical support produces more xylem phloem tissues so that they will be continuously replacing those old ones and damaged ones. Okay, stronger and thicker bark to provide protection from excessive water loss, physical injuries, pathogen infections, live longer, okay, increasing the chances of seed production and reproduction. Boleh bezakan dua ini. Kenapa ada primary growth and also secondary growth. Now this is a table of comparison. Okay, in EUDICOTS, similarities. Okay, kalau comparison tu kita mesti nyatakan similarities. Okay, before we look into elaborate further into the differences. Beginilah bila kamu jawab soalan. So both growths can increase the size. This one is set. Size of the plants permanently. Both occur in the woody plants. And then both growths involve cell division by mitosis. Okay, these are the similarities between primary and secondary growth. Okay, for differences, so it depends on look at the aspects lah. Kalau meristem ni apical for primary, lateral for secondary. Okay, I think this one you can go through yourself and you may ask questions. Kalau tidak begitu faham, then you have to clarify that. Alright. Economic importance. Okay, yang itu kita panggil annual rings ya. The one just now that you see. Annual gelang tahun. Tahunan berapa tahun sudah pokok ini. So these annual rings sebenarnya texture tu sangat cantik kan? So the presence of annual rings makes furniture look attractive. Okay, they can be made as decorative items. Okay, kalau yang ini nampak, yang ini adalah tentang pembinaan. So that means the economic importance ini adalah tumbuh-tumbuhan ni strong, they have strong and hard roots. So those woods are the one that is being used in furniture, in construction, buildings, doors, and so on. Okay. Yang number 3, the woods and barks of some plants. Okay, kalau kita pernah dengar meranti, kayu meranti, so they produce oil, resin. These substances can be commercialized. Untuk pembuatan varnish kah, adhesive substance, perfume, medicine. These are among the economic importance. Okay, kalau flowering plants itself, flowering plants ni selalunya yang akan mengalami secondary growth kan. And they themselves are very beautiful decorative plants lah. So commercialized fruits, mangoes, mangosteens, semua pokok-pokok begini, pokok berbuah ni memang adalah antara tumbuhan yang mengalami secondary growth. Okay.